All right, guys. I think we are live. Should be good to go. Hopefully audio and video are doing what they're supposed to do. It's going to look a little brighter in here today. I've got both doors going into the house and going out into the backyard open because it's going to get hot today. And so it's going to look a little brighter than normal. Hopefully everybody is okay with that. But I hope everybody's doing all right. Would love to get an audio check for anybody who happens to be able to type and let me know that the audio sounds okay, since I am doing this all by myself here. We got Vaz here. Glad to have you here, man. Excuse me. Sound and video is 100% okay. Well, that's good. I'm really glad to hear that. I thank you for that check. Super appreciate that. We got Enders, we've got Jan. Everybody is confirming everything is good. Super glad to hear that. Thank you so much for letting me know. It's been an interesting week. Put out a new type of video that I haven't put out before, that I was pretty happy with, as far as, you know, if you had to nuke your whole Homelab and only keep 5 apps, what would it be? And lots of comments on that, lots of different opinions as far as whether or not remote access counts as an app or if it's infrastructure. So I thought that was fun. May try to do more experiments like that, more thought experiments, just to see what kind of conversations we can start building in the community, in the comments, that sort of thing. Oh yeah. So Chris, thank you for pointing that out. I don't know if you were here when I announced it. So I've got this other window. There's a door right on the other side of my monitor here, kind of at a 45-degree angle. It's going to get super hot today, like 90 degrees, which I know doesn't sound hot. Colorado sucks at 90 degrees. So I've got the doors going for a good pass-through breeze. So yeah, there's going to be reflection of some of the backyard. But yeah, no, that's nothing I can really do about that right now, unfortunately, without closing that door. And I just can't bring myself to do it. It's actually a pretty decent temperature in here right now. So we're just going to have to suffer through that a little bit, but I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. Let's see who else. We got Glenn here. We've got Andre, I'm guessing. Says perfect audio. Glad to hear it. Thank you for confirming. Super appreciate you guys letting me know. So yeah, had a lot of fun with that video. Got that out, and was really glad to get the community feedback on their different perspectives of things. Some people had some very strong opinions on things, which I always appreciate as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed making that video. A while back, I'd made a video about like what were my top 5 apps. And some of them were the same. But this was kind of a different thought experiment. Like if I had to get rid of everything, what would I keep? And thought that was kind of a fun little thought experiment. So, let's see, I've got a username I'm not even going to try on. It says, hey DB, I've been wondering why we haven't seen any creator make a video of setting up Proxmox and Home Assistant with Olama, and then adding OpenClaw and Hermes and connecting them together. So you've listed off a bunch of buzzwords. But I don't know what you mean by setting up Proxmox, Home Assistant, Olama, Hermes, and OpenClaw. Hermes and OpenClaw are basically the same thing anyway. And connecting them all together to do what, I guess, is the question. Oh, you'd like to see how Home Assistant works with OpenClaw or Hermes working together. I think there actually have been some videos of people doing things like that. There are a couple of different LLMs that you can install in Olama that are very like Home Assistant focused. I would be intrigued to try it myself, except that I've got other people who live here, and I don't want to do that to them. I've got a child with severe autism and a wife who doesn't like surprises with lights and random things going off. So again, there was one. There's one creator specifically, YouTube. Hold on, I'm see if I can find. I let AI control my smart home. I don't know if I'll find the actual video that I'm looking for. It was a couple of years old, and I don't know if I'll ever find it. But there have been plenty of people. It was Tech Enthusiast. Was the creator who made the video. I'm almost sure of it. It is. Okay, so Tech Enthusiast. I want to make sure I get all of this right so I can maybe refer you to the right video. Damn. Okay, so we'll just switch over to this real quick. So this guy does a lot of automation stuff, did some Home Assistant stuff. A video that he did was very much what you're talking about. He only let it run for a few days before he had to shut it down because it started doing wildly erratic things. And I think that would definitely prevent me from doing that. So yeah, I didn't want to terrorize my family. Oh, let's see. Jan, thank you so much for gifting a channel membership. Super appreciate that. Texas Rascal is waving. How's it going? Glad to have you here. Peter's here, says happy Sunday to one and all. Jason Budney also says good morning. Chris W says, I just want to get to the point where an LLM can mow my lawn. They have that. It's not necessarily an LLM. They use AI with cameras and that sort of thing. There's Hoovie's Garage is about to release a video, which I think is kind of weird, where he's got a smart lawnmower that's... Is it Hoovie? No, it's not. It's not. Oh, who is it? I was actually just watching him this morning, and my brain is fried. It's been a bit of a week for me. Let me see if I can find my library here. Let me. Of course, it's not gonna do it. I can't think of who it was. I just want AI and a robot made, right? Don't we all? I am. Again, I'm just not sure if local AI is quite ready for. Or maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not quite ready for local AI because I don't have the right hardware for it. Maybe that's the more appropriate thing to say there. And I guess I technically do have the right hardware for it. I've got an Alaris One. That said, I'm thinking about selling my Alaris One. So if anybody wants to chat with me about buying my Alaris One, let me know. My car died this week. It is gone. It is done. It will not go any further. So I have to buy a new car now. And I'm thinking about selling my Alaris One so that I can help fund my new car, because I have to have a car to get around. The city that I'm in is not at all walking friendly. Not at all. So yeah, I'm thinking about selling some hardware to help me get into a place where I can buy a car, because unfortunately YouTube ad revenue isn't great this time of year. It's better in the holiday season. It is not great this time of year. So thinking about selling some hardware to make it so I can buy myself a new way to get around town. So if you're interested in an Alaris One, let me know. We can chat about that. They're currently going for $4,000. I'm not looking for $4,000, but I'm looking for a decent, respectable number. So yeah, that's what's been going on. It was real stressful the day my car died. I was pretty bummed about that. Really was not prepared for it to just completely crap out the way it did. So that's what's been going on with me over the last few days, is dealing with that. So anyway, let's see. So here a while back, somebody during a live stream had mentioned something called Checkmk. And let's go over here and take a look at this. It's unified IT observability. Man, if I could speak today, for the hybrid world, for cloud and for on-premises. And of course, that's what we'll be doing here is on-prem. Unified IT observability from public cloud to your data centers across servers, networks, containers, applications, and more, trusted by industry leaders worldwide. Checkmk brings complete observability to your stack by bridging the gap between legacy and the modern, which I love. I love the idea of that. And they've got some different editions that you can take a look at. We'll get into that here in a little bit, maybe. Here we can see the different industry leaders who are using it. We've got Adobe, Fujitsu, Siemens, Lincoln Laboratory, Fitbit. Haven't used Fitbit in a while. I missed these two. They're small. Volkswagen and Hewlett Packard. Their logos are just so small it they didn't attract my eye over there. Maybe they should have thrown those in the middle. How it works. So we ingest, monitor everything across your entire hybrid landscape from a single platform. Checkmk's automated discovery finds and connects every host and service across your environment, covering servers, network storage, cloud workloads, containers, and applications through one of the largest ingestion catalogs in the market. Data collection is flexible by design with standard agentless or agent-based methods with centralized management via the agent bakery. Agent bakery is a weird that's a weird thing, in my opinion, to say, an agent bakery. Like, I get what they're saying. It's just, I'd never seen those two words together, I guess. Okay, so let's see, solve. So they've got analyze, transform. Oh, so it starts there with ingest. What is, and then transform, handle enterprise scale without the complexity. Analyze, pre-built dashboards, advanced analytics, and SLA reports, give you real-time visibility. And solve becomes your single source of truth for full stack visibility across infrastructure, application, and end user experience. Oh, geez. Jason says, I remember seeing this a while ago, looked cool, but it didn't seem to fit what I needed at the time. And that's probably where I am as well, if I'm completely honest. This seems very overkill for the one node that I've actually got running with all of my stuff on it. But we're going to give it a look on my little, this, where did it go? If I get my finger to work, we're going to put it on that little computer right there here in just a moment, I think. And luckily we can install it via Docker. So that'll be a fun little experiment to try. Excuse me. Jekyll says, hello, sir. Happy Sunday. God bless you. Well, glad to have you here, Jekyll. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I always love when people come out of the shadows and say hi. Really do appreciate that. Does the open source version cover NetFlow observability and configuration backups? It's a really good question. I don't know. We're going into this completely blind. I have not installed this. I've done more research on this live stream than I have leading up to this live stream. I'm not entirely sure what all it's going to do, but they've got, let's see, platform. Soldier says, hey, like here and now. Yeah, like we're just going to go into this completely blind. I've done exactly no research on this other than seeing this Docker Compose right here. We're going to run this Docker Compose, or this Docker run rather, here in a little bit. We're going to convert it to a Compose just so I can take a better look at it. But that's the plan. I have no idea what it's going to do or how it's going to work. I very much like to go into these very blind, just so we can kind of get an idea of what's going on together. Because I enjoy that part of it. I feel like if I go into it, if I've done a bunch of research ahead of time, if I get less interaction, if I'm being completely honest, because I've got some sort of an idea of what's going on, and it's more of a presentation at that point. And I want to save my presentations for the videos, not for the live streams. So I like to go into the live streams kind of blind, just so we can test it out together, and we can have a conversation as we're going through it. So let's see. This is under monitoring platform, under features. monitor anything, anywhere across infrastructure, applications, and user experience. It unifies your monitoring stack by delivering infrastructure monitoring, application observability, and synthetic monitoring in a single pane of glass. With features like native open telemetry support and AI-powered troubleshooting, Checkmk accelerates your time to resolution and provides the actionable insights needed to maintain a high-performing, secure IT environment. That's cool. And here we can kind of get a better idea. Those aren't tabs. Okay. They look like tabs, so I thought I would click it. So their steps go bottom to top, which is weird. But again, more of kind of the same that we saw, the ingest, transform, analyze, and solve that we saw over here on the homepage, just kind of building more on that. Unified, scalable, and secure, control and visibility, scale or value at scale, secure by design, best-in-class ROI. Well, I hope so, since we're going at this with the free option with Docker. Use cases is infrastructure monitoring, keep critical infrastructure available and performing at its best. It gives you real-time visibility into your full stack, so you can detect issues early, resolve them faster, and plan capacity with confidence. But application observability, synthetic monitoring, catch issues before your users do. It simulates key user journeys and API calls to monitor availability, performance. Okay, so it does a little bit of stress testing, it sounds like. It kind of runs through your system and looks for little places where you might run into hiccups. That's cool. I hadn't thought of that, but that's kind of doing some testing in real time. I dig that. And then we can download, but I've already got that open over here. Okay. For the first time, log in and try Checkmk out. Well, cool. Let's do that. I think we've got an idea of what it's supposed to do in theory. So we've got our template here. This is just a default template that I've got that has Docker in it. So I'm going to clone it. I'm going to call it Checkmk. And we're just going to click clone. We're going to let this sit for a minute. While it's doing its thing, though, let's go to composerize.com. Oh, there we go. It helps if you spell it correctly. All right, so let's see what all we've got in here. That doesn't look right. It is not. Yeah, I don't. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it's. I was looking at that wrong. So, what do you think, guys? Should we do the Docker run or the Docker compose? We should probably do if I'm honest, we should probably do the Docker run, since that's what we're provided with, and it's been tested. I'll give that a second to spin up. I think. All right, let's. Oh yeah, Composerize is one of my favorite tools to use to convert a Docker run into a Docker compose. Really, I've been using this for a long time. Yeah, I think what we're going to do, we're going to run it as a Docker run command. I'm going to come back over here and grab this. Oops. I'm going to drag that over there. That's all fine. Been doing it mentally. Yeah, no, Composerize is great. In fact, you know what? I'll just paste this up here, just so you've got it. Flameberg, glad to have you here, man. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. We've been taking a quick look over here at Checkmk, going through some of this, going off script in real time. Yeah, there's no script today. So basically, let's take a look at this Docker run command. So we've got Docker container run. We've got a flag of DINT. We're going to run it on port 8050 or 8080 on port 5000. You know what, though? I'm going to have to change this because I've got Portainer running on this server. So I'm going to change it to 8060 for that other port. We've got a temp file system that's going to be on UID and GID 1000, which is very common, very standard. We've got some volumes, or a couple of volumes here for monitoring. We've got a Docker volume here, or a named volume, or whatever you want to call it, that maps to omd/sites. We give it a name. We've got another one for local time. This etc local time is mapped inside and out the same. A restart policy of always, and then the Checkmk Community Docker image there that we're going to run. So I'm going to guess that we're going to hit this on port 8080 once it has deployed. So then let's just go ahead and run that and see what it does. Hopefully this will go pretty quickly. We're only downloading about 1 gig. And I've got a relatively quick internet connection. So looks like we're going to go do some extracting now. So that's good. All right, I want to make sure that that IP address is correct. We're going to scroll up. It is on, oh, okay, I'm glad I checked, because this is saying 9.229. It is actually 9.34. I'm really glad I checked. And I think we're on port 8080 here. That looks about right. Looks like it's running some Python up in there. Give this a second. Okay. Well, that's not super helpful. So I'm also going to grab this. I'm also going to do 8060. Okay. I thought that might be the case. Just wanted to check. You can log in and try Checkmk out. You'll find the provisional password for the CheckAdmin account in the logs that were written for this container. All right, so we need to paste that in. Okay, here's our username, which is CMark oops. So we got our I'm gonna open a notepad because I will forget otherwise. I will screw this up, I guarantee it. So we're going to paste that in. Oops. We're going to do this. We're going to paste that in, click login. All right. Yeah, search the logs. Have fun. It wasn't too bad, actually. I've seen a lot worse. Clipboard Manager for the win. Yeah, I don't use the Clipboard Manager. I should though, but probably. But I just don't. Let's see. We've done that. Yeah, look, I've seen a lot worse. Oh, you can also change the password by running that command. That's good to know. Looks like everything there is good, so we're logged in. All right, so lots going on here. We can add our first host. It's 2 steps, takes 7 to 10 minutes. We've got some resources. Creating a folder, okay. In Checkmk, a host is any standalone physical or virtual system that is monitored. Each host has a service which represents what is monitored, for example, CPU usage, disk space, excuse me, processes or hardware sensors. The service discovery for Checkmk automatically detects those services. This allows monitoring to start with minimal configuration effort. I like minimal configuration effort. I do. That makes me happy. In Checkmk, folders are the foundation for organizing hosts and applying settings consistently. Creating a folder or folder structure before adding your first host helps you keep things tidy from the start and makes it easier to manage similar hosts later through inheritance. Learn more about folders and inheritance in the documentation. So add your first host. Okay, so let's call it tutorial mocks. IPv4 only is fine. Checkmark agent or API integration. API integration if configured, else checkmark agent. Interesting. SNMP. So all of this is the default value. I don't have SNMP set up. API integration if configured. Otherwise, use a checkmark agent. I think checkmark agent is probably the way to go here. I would think anyway. If you're not sure why it shows this name, it's because it's the name that I've given the little machine that we've got back here that we've got this installed on is called Tutorial Mocks because I'm really bad at naming things. All right, custom attributes, labels, default value, network scan, management dashboard. I feel like let's click save. We can come into here and we can add a host. Host name, this is where we just were. Host. Okay, wait, I thought we did this already. Hosts. Okay, okay. So there's no host in here. So add a host. Let's have a checkmark agent or SNMP. So then we have to do an agent, right? The host must have a checkmark agent or SNMP or an API integration prepared. We don't have that. So I need to figure out how to add an agent. That's not helpful. Acknowledge problems. Okay, that's hosts. Availability. View timeline, no. All hosts. Okay, wait. It's just irritating. Should set the username and password from the web page. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I've run into other services that require you to go to do that via command line. Not a big fan. All hosts. Hosts. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, this is hosts main. Okay, so then let's go back to here. Learn, user guide, installation. Let's look up agent. Oh, shut up. Automatic updates distribute agents and plugins automatically. Developing special agents, monitoring Linux. Here to set up the agent. Oh, F off. I had to create a custom installation package for agents in Checkmark, and if required, distribute them automatically. Well, I don't want. No. Setting up automatic updates. Okay, but this doesn't tell me how to administration of check marks, authentication with SAML, sign-in security, monitoring your own system. Set up services discovery rules. No, I understand what client means or what agent means. I just don't understand. They just say, hey, you need an agent or you need a client, but it just maybe just start to add one. This is the problem. I don't know where to find the information to install the agent. That's what I'm looking for. Like here is just add host monitoring. Cool, host name. But it doesn't, I tell you what, let's just do this. Okay, there we go. Now, Solaris. Okay, do this. Okay, so let's see. The UI is irritating, but you can get the agent script file from setup and then, okay. So that's where we are here, right? wget server sites. I don't, so why doesn't it automatically fill this in? Use the following command to download an agent package in a basic configuration. So it's going to be, God damn it. So in theory, okay, that's fine. Okay, that works. That tells me that URL is correct. I want it to monitor itself at this point. No such directory. Outstanding. Oops. Oh, because I'm stupid. It should be wget. Oops. Okay, so we have the agent, except I wanted the Debian file. Damn it. I grabbed the RPM and not that. I grabbed the RPM file, not the Debian file, because I'm stupid. So we're going to do rm checkmark agent dash. Yeah, I wanted to remove that. That way we just got the Debian file there. That's fine. Okay, so we've done this. We've done the wget. So next, let's register the agent. Generate a one-time token. Agent registration will establish trust between the agent controller on the host and the agent receiver on the Checkmk server. This requires the generation of a registration token. So, okay. So now we've got to install the Debian file, right? So unless I missed something, previous step. So here, so this is, let's look at previous step. Yep. So it says that the host exists. That's good, right? We agree on that. Agent registration only possible. Okay, so that exists. Use the following command. I did that. I've got the file. And now it says register the agent. But at no point does it tell me to install the agent. At no point does it give me the instructions to install the agent. It just says download the agent and then generate this token and then run it. It doesn't tell me the command to install the agent. And that's not super user friendly if you want people to use your software. If you want, it says download and install. What? Yeah, we did that. And I understand that you're right. Install is implied, but it should give the command here. Like, I feel like there's a huge gap in knowledge, and maybe that's a me issue. Maybe I'm too stupid to do this. It says, okay, I understand it says save host, download and install. I get that. If we look over here, I have the file on the server, right? We can see that I have the file on the server. And thank you for putting that in there. RLK Rollman, I appreciate that. It should be here, is what I'm saying. The command to install it should be on the page. I shouldn't have to use Google Foo. And nobody should ever assume anything. Like, there should be no assumptions in the process. They have skipped a step here by missing the instruction on doing that. So that's where this step 2 has failed. And that's what frustrates me, is when these software people build software and they expect you to know every step of their process. Rollman, because it's my fucking stream, that's why. I can complain about it as long as I'd like to. If you don't like me complaining about it, you're missing the point. Okay? This is my stream, and if you don't like it, there are other streams that you can go watch. This is the complaint that I have across a lot of software. When instructions are incomplete, it frustrates me. So I'm going to bitch about it because it's my fucking stream. And if you don't like that, please excuse yourself from the room. So now that we've got that installed, I should, in theory, be able to come over to here. Again, in theory, I'm going to clear my screen. Oh, right. Okay, so let's clear that. Oops. Let's grab my notepad because I have to change the ports because I changed it to 8060 instead of 8,000. And that's why it failed that time. So we're going to copy that. We're going to paste that. Oh my God.
Need anything extra added today?
What's that?
Do you need anything extra added?
Not yet, but thank you.
Keep me posted.
So it looks like we've got the agent installed now. Again, I wish they had put the full instructions in there instead of assuming. So in theory, we can come back over to here. We can test the connection. Okay, connected to the agent. Yay. So created. Interesting. Not locked. Great. Add elements to your sidebar. Okay, so I scanned. It says critical agent, no cached data available, critical. Okay, piggyback, success, but no data found on this host. That's interesting because we've got Docker installed, we've got Portainer installed, we've got Checkmk installed, we've got a Checkmk agent installed. No discovery of information, please perform a rescan. Let's try again. Maybe okay. Hey, check it out. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Undecided. Okay, so let's start up here. Agent success, piggyback success, changed for services, unchanged or undecided services, vanished services, new host labels, vanished host labels, changed host labels. Service is rescanned, that's good. Discovered host labels 7. These are all checkmark labels. Container, single home, OS family, OS name, OS platform, OS type, OS version. Okay. So we've got our agent, we've got CPU utilization, we've got disk IO, file system, interface 2 and 4 for networking. It looks like memory. This is going to be my fault. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. Memory, we're using 63% of about 4 gigs, it looks like. Mount options, postfix, system D, uptime, up since 6.7, so 21 minutes. So that's just going to be for the LXC, I believe, for this. Cool. So now we've got this. Texas Rascal says, what I love is when I'm following their instructions, run a command and it returns nothing. I sit there and have to guess for 10 minutes if it was good or bad. Did it work or did it do nothing, right? Again, I want to be clear here, right? The reason this upsets me, and this is a me issue, the reason it upsets me so much when instructions are unclear or incomplete is this. Fairly early on, when I was creating content here on the channel, I was in a really bad mental health space. I was dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes that was taking up a lot of my emotional capacity, good, bad, or indifferent. I was overwhelmed with everything that was going on in my personal life, with my health, and all kinds of stuff. And so I would put out a video with very minimal information, like here's how to do this, here's how to install this Docker container, right? And there would be big gaps in information. Like I'm going to do this step, and this step, right? But I would never explain why I was doing these different steps. And I would get people in my comments who were like, hey, I don't understand this, or I don't understand that, or why did you do this? And I was an awful, terrible person. Like, why are you even here if you don't understand this? I was an awful person in my comment section because I figured if an idiot like me can figure this out, why can't you? And that was my mindset. And it was a bad mindset to have, but it took me a long time to realize. And maybe this is more of that, right? Maybe this is more of that. So I believe that if I want to get through to people with regards to how to perform a task or how to install something or whatever, right? That I will over-explain something to the point of frustration sometimes because I don't want there to be a gap in information. If I have to run a command to make something work, that should be included in the steps, right? So when step 2 was install it, great. Through which command would you like me to install it? Are there any other flags that I should know about? Is there, like, they left out a big chunk of information here in their steps, and maybe they don't expect somebody in a Homelab to run this, right? Maybe they expect somebody with all of their certificates out there in a big data center. Maybe that's who they're expecting to run this. So maybe an idiot like me doing this in a Homelab for testing purposes isn't their target audience. And if that's the case, that's fine. But maybe they should declare that as well. There's a lot of ambiguity in here, and that is frustrating to me. Several months ago, we did we did a video like this, a live stream like this, where my goal was to install Nextcloud. But the goal of the exercise was to only use the instructions that Nextcloud gave from their official documentation to install it. Look, I know that there are a lot of tutorials and blog posts and instructions out there that other people have put together to install Nextcloud that are brilliant, they're well done, they make everything work flawlessly from day one moving forward. And kudos to those people for putting in their contribution to the community. However, when I was installing Nextcloud during that live stream, the first step was wrong. The second step after that was wrong. So it's frustrating to me when a big piece of software, a well-known piece of software, leaves these huge gaps of information and instruction. They shouldn't have to rely on, or we shouldn't have to rely on, none of us should have to rely on the community to put together tutorials that the organization that built the software should have put out in the first place. But again, as somebody who's been making tutorials for a long time, as somebody who has been in the position, who has left out steps, I can understand how it happens. But I feel like what these organizations should do, whether it's Nextcloud or Checkmk or whoever, right? They should hand their documentation over to somebody who's never used their software before and say, here, I want you to follow these instructions and I want you to install it based on these instructions. And anytime that user has a question, they should add that question or that solution to the instructions. I know that it's a lot of extra work, but it could save the community and the end user a ton of frustration and a ton of headache if they took the extra steps to improve their documentation, to make it accommodate, and I mean, no disrespect here, but the lowest common denominator of user. Because very often I am the lowest common denominator of user. So these people who are building software need to, I think, step up their game to make sure that every step is covered and that nothing is assumed. And I keep seeing it more and more and more and more as we install more and more software and we're trying out different things. I keep seeing more and more of this kind of half-baked instructions going out into the wild. Vaz is exactly right. I had a teacher that said that people that know a lot about one subject make the worst teachers because they assume everyone knows that what they classify as basic information, and they don't. That's exactly it. And I genuinely feel like when somebody writes documentation, they need to have somebody who's never used the software follow the documentation. And every question that they ask or any issue that they run into needs to be addressed in the documentation so that there are fewer gaps in that information that's available to the general public. If more organizations would do that, I truly believe the world would be a better place. So, with that said, let's come back over to here and let's take a look. So we've got 14 different services here that are currently not being monitored. And my understanding to make this happen is if we want to monitor something, we're going to click the check mark next to it. Or if we don't want to monitor it, we would click the X mark next to it. Again, that is assumed information here. Now, that said, there's this welcome to Checkmk 0 of 6 topics explored. I feel like this should have taken precedence. This should have been the first thing that popped up. One of those like click here, click there, click all over the screen to know what each thing does. That could have been another way that this could have been improved. But here we are. So I want to monitor basically all of this. Hey, JD, glad to have you here, man. You missed me ranting and swearing for a while, but we're taking control of the situation again. Glad to have you here. So we're gonna go ahead and monitor a bunch of this stuff, I think. File system, we definitely want to monitor. Guess we'll monitor all of this. We'll monitor memory. We'll monitor file system or the mount. Postfix queue default, sure. Status default, sure. System D, TCP, uptime, cool. We're going to monitor all of that. We're going to monitor all 14 of those available services there. I guess I also could have just clicked or accept all. That probably would have worked as well. So let's click rescan one more time just to see what happens. Nothing there changed, so that's probably good. Like somebody said earlier, no news is good news. So now, in theory, we can click on properties of host. And let's, nope. Save and run, service discovery, save and view folder, save and run connection tests, update site DNS cache, or go up a level. I'm honestly not sure. Let's run service. Okay, that takes us back to where we were. Save folder view, connection tests. Okay. So we're going to do some, so we've pinged it, and it pinged well. It pinged quickly. That's good. It's on the same host. It should. We can see that our agent is here, and that's good. There's no SNMP version 1 or version 2 or version 2C without bulk walk. No version 3. There's a trace route. Okay. Interesting. Let's go back. So, oops, damn it, properties. That's where we just, no, properties. Oh, so it has to finish this again. That's fun. And kids in there being a dork, I can hear it. Update site DNS cache. Great. Or we can go back to tutorial mocks. All right, let's see. What do we have? Edit the properties. Run service discovery. View rule-based effective parameters of the host. Move this host to another folder, delete the host, or open. Vaz, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Really super appreciate that, man. That was really nice of you. Thank you. Okay. Our auth. We have permission to the host. That's good. Okay, I think that's all we've got going on here. Can we minimize this, I wonder? Review, bookmarks. Let's go over here to monitor, main dashboard. Main dashboard, checkmark dashboard. I thought we had main dashboard. Now see here, now this is, oh, activate pending changes. Interesting. Okay. So we've done that. Now can we monitor the main dashboard? We have one up. That's, okay, we've got stats. Okay. Checkmark dashboard. Host and service, main dashboard. Let's look here. Interesting. Close this. Okay, so this is show checkboxes. No. Okay, this all says that it's pending, or there's nothing there. Changes are saved without affecting live monitoring, allowing you to review and adjust them safely. Click activate pending changes to apply them. I did that. Okay. Yeah, it does look like it's going to take some time. I agree with that. Grade because it hasn't polled yet. That makes sense, I suppose. Let's look at all hosts. So it's like 5-minute polling. I wonder. Okay, so we've got a little timer here. Oh, this is automatic page reload in 16 seconds. Click for instant reload. I wonder if there is a way to change the polling. In other monitoring tools, you have a button to force an execution, right? Because we accepted the changes. Let's see. Setup general time periods. Nope, it wasn't time periods. Rules search, global settings. Execution of checks. Hey, Enders, just as a heads up to you, there's like a 30-second delay, right? So when you say last screen, I'm 5 screens deep at that point. So unfortunately, there's like a 30-second delay or something between what you see and when I've actually done it. Yeah. So again, just trying to help us have a cleaner line of communication here. Changes, no. Monitor, main dashboard, one up, the list of services screen, server monitoring rules. Interesting. Okay. So there's a ton of services listed here. And there's a lot of services listed here. Used rule sets. Oh, wait, what? Glenn, I'm glad it was my rant was amusing. I am. We've got cloud stuff here, Proxmox stuff here, databases, service monitor. It's an easy 10 minutes to finish it. Interesting. Well, Ben, we're taking a look at Checkmk. We spent a good amount of time bitching about their documentation and the huge gaps that were in there. That had me pretty frustrated, and apparently had Glenn laughing pretty good. But they've got a ton of services that they can monitor in here. It looks like power printers. Wow, like just tons of stuff going on in here. Let's come back over to here, main dashboard, one up. I'm just curious. Oh, hey, there we go. Oh, thank you. All right, now we're getting somewhere here. Now we're getting at some stuff. Though it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. I really feel like this is going to be way over my head as far as the information that it presents here. I hate when I have to use ChatGPT to help me do an install because the documentation sucks, right? Yeah, that's that. Oh, there went that final little bit. Uptime, 40 minutes. Has it really been that long? I don't feel like it's been that long. Has it been? I guess maybe it has been. I'll be damned. I guess I spent longer bitching about things than I thought I had. JD says, I've learned that an all-in-one monitoring is great in theory, but generates too much noise. And this is just monitoring itself. Like we've only added itself to the monitoring. So 185 seconds is what, like 6 minutes? We've got 4 minutes there. Interesting. Better out than in, right? So we got total. So okay. So let's see. We've got our Checkmk, agent success, version is there, Checkmk discovery services are all up to date. That's good. CPU utilization is 15.5%. Disk I/O is reading and writing with a 23 microsecond delay, or latency, which isn't too bad, I don't think. File system used, not enough data to calculate a trend because it's very, very new information. Interface, so we've got both Ethernet and Docker. They're both up. They're both transmitting and receiving. Total virtual memory of 4 gigs out of 8. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. That's what I thought. This has got 32 gigs of RAM. It must be just the 8 gigs allocated. Nope, I've only got 2 gigs allocated here for memory. I don't know where it's getting some of these numbers. 2.5 gigs of 4 gigs, 8 additional details available. Reschedule parameters, manual page for this check type, host parent child topography. Interesting. Okay. Can I click that? Okay, so it will give us charts for RAM usage, which I appreciate. Interesting. All right. So I do like that. Okay, so this just gives us a drop down for each thing. This tells us if there's a chart available for it, and this gives us a summary. Let's look at disk I/O, I suppose. Oh, okay, so we gotta be outside of that to scroll. And it looks like there's also some scrolling over here. Okay, so each one of these has the option to give us hours or days, or a lot of days. See, my monitoring is the kid calling to tell me the Plex is down. Yeah, luckily I'm usually the one that has to deal with that. In fact, I ran into a situation the other night where I was laying in bed watching TV and Plex started choking real bad. And so I went over to my TV settings and went into the network and I was like, check the network speed. And it was giving me like 9 megabits per second or something. And I was like, well, that's not right. So I reconnected the network and ran the test again. Then it was giving me 7 megs per second. And I was like, well, that's even worse. So what the heck is going on? Went out and actually looked at the console for Plex and it looked fine. So I knew that it wasn't Plex having an issue. It was a network issue at that point. So I rebooted the TV. Sometimes that also helps the situation. And that didn't work. So I was getting kind of frustrated. Luckily, I've got a backup wireless network for another thing that I've got. So I was like, well, I'll just connect to that after doing all of this troubleshooting, and connected to the other network, ran the test, and instead of giving like 7 or 9, I got like 200 megabits per second. So that was frustrating. So I've still got my TV connected to the alternate network. So that was some troubleshooting that I didn't want to do after, taking my nighttime sleep meds. So that was a lot of fun to try to deal with. But yeah, the joys of running networking and apps and that sort of thing, and having to troubleshoot it at the most inconvenient times, are just not the kind of things that I really enjoy. The best networking I have is my wife. She lets me know when it's down and what's happening, or when it's happening. That's good. At least she's participating, right? That's got to be something, JD. Anyway, let's come back over to here. It was paused. Interesting. So we are on disk I/O summary. Let's come back. We come back to their services of hosts. Glad you found something to look at, though. All I've seen from open source is the same vibe-coded products. Bro, Ben, that has been my biggest issue lately, is trying to find something to talk about on the channel. It's been killing me. It's really been killing me as far as trying to find a topic to cover that isn't a plugin for something that I don't run, or there's hardly anything out there right now. And like even looking through the self-host newsletter, and that's not at all Ethan's fault. It's just there's hardly anything out there. I only found Checkmk because somebody in a previous live stream made a comment that I should check it out. So I literally have a notepad open over here that I made a note in to check out Checkmk. And I was out here yesterday or the day before, and I was like, oh, maybe we can do that for the live stream. But it's been rough trying to find a topic to cover. And it really has me in a bad headspace about self-hosting. So I've been trying to come up with other ideas for things that I can talk about here on the channel. Bob, I agree. Not all vibe coding is bad. I 100% agree with that. But that's just it. Only you're using what you vibe coded. And a lot of these people are out here vibe coding things and releasing them into the community. And look, Claude is getting a lot better about being pretty efficient and pretty good. But I don't have enough of my own knowledge about coding to trust it, because I don't have the ability to actually security test the code. And if I can't security test the code, I'm not going to release it into the public. So that's my big complaint about what's going on right now, is everybody's releasing vibe coded stuff, but nobody is guaranteeing that their stuff is secure or that it's gone through some sort of a security check. Yeah, did we forget the Hunter debacle? Exactly. Vaz says I had a similar problem to him. My switches decided to start a cage match on who was syncing spanning tree, and the entire network went kaput. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks quite a bit. I'm on the. Ben says he's on the struggle bus. I want to post and I don't want to. Dude, I've been struggling a lot, and I've been lucky to come up with a couple of ideas that have done fairly well. I wish you all of the luck in the world, and I hope you can come up with something that gets you going again, Ben, because it's been rough. Like I've seen the numbers on other tech channels, not even like self-hosting, but other tech channels in general, and numbers are down across the board. I think next week's live stream is going to be assembling a new server rack, because that's what I got, man. Like it's getting hard to find things to cover and to talk about. So next week's live stream will probably be building a server rack, because I don't know what else to do. Unless something else comes up, you guys can plan on that for next week. So just to give you a bit of a heads up for what's going on there. In terms of true open source monitoring, Zabbix is way better. I've heard of Zabbix, but I've never actually looked into it, I don't think. Zabbix. What? Am I that stupid? Oh, Zabbix alternative. I saw the word Zabbix and clicked it. Let's look at this real quick. Don't miss the Zabbix. Continue without agreeing. Adaptable enterprise ready. Always available, built for what's next, MSP friendly. Leaders in every vertical you rely on, Zabbix can too. Okay. On-prem. So it's kind of the same idea, but just done a little differently, I'm guessing. Guts 556. How does Zabbix compare to Bezel? That's a good question too. Ben says, don't get me wrong, I vibe code all the time, but the stuff I make is at least a little different on another file sharing app. Dude, so many file sharing apps, so many note sharing apps. It's rough. Playing with vibe coding, find it wrong 9 out of 10 times, so I can easily see how the Hunter issue occurred. Bezel's good for minimal production, pre-configured metrics. Zabbix is expert enterprise level monitoring. You can use for Homelab as well, and be ready to monitoring a couple of hosts quickly. See, and that's kind of what I was hoping this would be. And we've only scratched the surface of what this can do, I'm sure. but it's the issue I had initially that really makes me not even want to go any further with this, if I'm completely honest. Like the lack of information for just the setup process feels like they've got a key demographic in mind, and maybe I'm just not it. Ask Claude to brainstorm ideas. I have, and it's not gone well because it's all stuff I've already done, or it's stuff that's so outlandish. Like one of them revolved around, doing like really low power self-hosting, like on a Raspberry Pi 5, and seeing how far I can push it. And at this point, Pis don't make any sense in Homelabs for the most part. They've definitely got their place, but as far as like deploying a Homelab on a Raspberry Pi, if it's what you've got or if it's what you want to use, that's fine. But there are so many low powered, like even something like a Zima board runs on about the same amount of power, maybe a little bit more power, but can do infinitely more than a Raspberry Pi can. So I'm getting suggestions like that from Claude, or just the most random things that don't really fit. I was really hoping that the security stuff would take off and people would enjoy that more. But that ended up just being kind of a lot of doom and gloom, and the same jerks out there doing the same thing over and over and over again, just in different ways. So it was becoming the same story over and over and over, just attacking different vectors or different enterprises or different platforms and that sort of thing. So that was getting kind of repetitive and monotonous. So I could see why people kind of lost ideas or lost interest in that very quickly, which was really unfortunate because that was almost daily content that I could put out. But I ended up having to kind of shrink it down so that it was more Homelab related versus, like GitHub targeted, those sorts of things. So I was running into some issues there. Sorry, it was sidetracked for a second. So I'm sure I will come up with other stuff. I haven't had really good luck coming up with a lot of other ideas. Oh, I hate the way this scrolls. Next week, you can test the first official release of OpenOffice. The official release is tomorrow. I tested the beta a little bit, and it was pretty good. I liked it quite a bit. JD says next week, watch DB Tech's new rack. Now bigger and better than the old one. So remember, just replace her rack too, right? The new rack will be bigger. It'll be 10 U's taller and I think 8 inches deeper. Ha ha ha. It will be bigger, but it's going to be a beast, and I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go in there. But I'll definitely. It may come down to that, guys. And you can hear me swear a lot in that video too. Question for chat. What do you want to see from creators like DB Tech myself? Bro, I have asked that question so many times, and very often the answer I get is, I've got this really obscure piece of hardware. Can you make some content on it so I can figure out how to do this thing? I get that a lot. I've been getting that since back in the day when I was doing Chromebook content. Like, I've got this obscure thing. Will you make content about it? And that's really frustrating, Ben. I can tell you that much. Cake in a Cup says Checkmk is huge. It's a self-employment opportunity, just no money in it. I'm starting to believe that. I have Bezel installed in a Homelab and like it. It's good for someone who doesn't put much effort in and have kind of yeah. And I actually ran Bezel for a while and liked it quite a bit. I don't run anything at this point though, because it was pretty lights to have on a screen basically, and I never actually did anything with the information. It was just something to look at. It's kind of like my internet speed monitor dashboard that I never look at. it's there, and about every couple hours it pings and it runs a speed test, and that's about it. You can run Zabbix on Raspberry Pi. At least that was the case before. Zabbix, in my opinion, is a beast on another level. I use it. It worked to monitor hundreds of switches and a couple thousand equipment from several ISPs. Use it as well as a monitoring tool. Yeah, I don't have any interest in all of that. Doom and gloom is the norm in cybersecurity. Yeah, I feel like Ben, you'd be a great if you're in cybersecurity, you'd be a great person to cover those topics on your channel. JD says, I think DP hit it on the head. The market is saturated at the moment with vibe coded stuff. A lot of people who don't know what they're doing can now fake it. Yep. And on the hardware side, it means money. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that everything is so expensive right now. And that's why you haven't seen, I don't remember the last hardware video that I did, because it doesn't make sense to cover hardware anymore because it's so expensive that it's like, hey, look, I got this shiny new thing that you can't afford. And I don't mean any disrespect there, because I wouldn't be able to afford it if I didn't get it for free. It's dumb. It's dumb where tech is right now. I have a Pi for a third Pi-hole instance and run NUT. Otherwise, I have a couple of mini HPs for other smaller stuff. Yeah. Like my whole Homelab runs on that little box right there. Like I've got backups and going on other stuff. The big box in the middle isn't turned on at all right now. Like I think this whole rack is pulling like 300 watts, which I know is a lot for a lot of people, but it used to pull closer to 1,000. But for anything, I just want creators to be passionate about it. It's hard now with the state AI and hardware. Yeah, it is. It sucks. Is OpenOffice a consumer product or potential alternative to LibreOffice? It could be, Bob. I've been riding my bicycle so much, I've been thinking about buying a GoPro and making a biking channel. Dude, so my wife and I had our 10-year anniversary almost exactly a month ago. And we rented e-bikes when we were up in Denver and had a really great time on them. So we came home and bought e-bikes. And then I immediately bought a mount for it and installed my GoPro on the front of my e-bike. And I've actually been thinking about doing something similar, about making a video or a channel just dedicated to riding around and uploading content. Maybe throwing some ambient music or something over it, whatever. Just because it's something that I enjoy doing. And I think it would be a lot of fun. Yeah, but if I'm not enjoying it, you won't either. That's exactly it. That's why it's why like there are certain topics I just haven't covered, because like I know it would do well. Like the whole when Plex pulled their BS, everybody's like, here's Jellyfin and five plugins that you can install on it to make it even better. Cool. Or I could just keep using Plex because I don't have to install plugins to get Plex to do what I want it to do. I just disable the features that I don't want. So like, I don't want to learn Jellyfin. I don't want to install plugins in Jellyfin. I don't want to cover Jellyfin. Jellyfin doesn't intrigue me because I have Plex and it works. And I know that comes through on camera. If you've done a video on how to use secrets in Dockhand, hide your passkeys, and then back up your YAML to get for others to use. I have not, because that's not how I run my Homelab. Like I switched basically everything over to Dockhand, but I've still got a very basic setup. I've got a backup of all of my YAML or all of my Docker Compose files in my Git or my Gitty instance, but I don't really have them connected so that I can do deployments and that sort of thing. So it's hard for me to make a video like that when I don't run my Homelab that way, because I'm not sure about the proper procedures and that sort of thing to do CI/CD stuff, because that's not how I run my stuff. It's a great idea, Cake in a Cup. I want to be very clear, but I don't do CI/CD in my Homelab, so I don't feel like I'm at all in a position to talk about it in any kind of way that would make any sense. So I try to avoid those types of topics. Damn it, I scrolled a whole ton again. We need a co-hosted channel where we just trash talk bad projects. I've done that a few times where I've talked bad about a project. Here's the thing. I love the idea, Ben. I genuinely do. But I try not to trash talk projects. If I don't like a project, I will say, here's my opinion on it, and I try to leave it at that. Sometimes I will rant, sometimes I will tirade, but I try not to actually trash a project, because somebody put some time and effort into it, and it works for them, and it works for a few other people probably. So I don't want to trash talk, and it's just, Cake in a Cup kind of summed it up. Trash talking leads to hate, hate leads to fear, hate leads to the dark side. And that's kind of it. I don't necessarily want the channel to be a doom and gloom website or a doom and gloom channel. Like I will vent my frustration about something and try to move on once I feel like I've adequately vented my frustration. Sometimes I need more time than the average person might to vent my frustration, but I will then eventually move on, hopefully, and start talking about other things. Glenn says, I'm liking my new Raspberry Pi Entertainment Center. Is that what you've got running in your truck, Glenn? Is that what you're watching this on? I saw the picture that you posted in Discord. I thought that was pretty cool. Hold on one second, guys. Oh, sorry, guys. The kid's out in the pool. We just got it opened up for him this weekend or this week, and he's just making some weird noises, and I needed to make sure he wasn't actually dealing with anything. Now maybe I can afford a P3 and some DDR2, or if the price is good. Like Computex was 90% AI rack-mounted equipment. Felt like they're trying to sell dog food at a cat show. I hate Computex every year. Like I've never been, so I can't say anything about the actual event. But YouTube is just bombarded with content that's like, hey, this might come out, or hey, here's something that people are talking about. And it's so much speculation during Computex on YouTube that I hate watching YouTube this time of year. In fact, my YouTube consumption is actually down. I've noticed over the past few weeks. I've been watching more car content, which is unrelated to my car dying the other day. So that's a thing, but nerds and bikes, I like that idea. JD says he picked up golf. I've never been a fan of golf, but I understand that there's some skill involved in it. I've always felt I would enjoy disc golf more than regular golf, but even that is not my cup of tea at all. Biking is my happy place. A couple of weeks ago, I was on my bike and it got out from under me because it's a stage 2 bike at 750 watts, but it'll go to 1500 in stage 3, which I unlocked and I wasn't paying attention. And I was sitting still and I goosed the throttle and it wheelied out from under me. Man, I hit the ground hard. Like I'm just now kind of walking normal again. My knees all messed up. Still swollen a little bit, but it's been 2 weeks and I'm just now getting to where I don't hurt all of the time. But would love to do more riding. In fact, we're talking about going for a ride tomorrow. That'll be, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles round trip probably. So not huge, but it'll be a good ride, I think. Someone just did a video on Jellyfin and the plugins you need to use to stop using Plex. I think Tech Hut did one. There were several of those videos that popped up because it was low hanging fruit as far as content's concerned. And again, no hate on the people that did that. It's just not content that I would make, again, because I'm not a fan of Jellyfin. Oh, I hate the way this scrolls. Chimp number 1 says, just wanted to say hi from Scotland. Well, thanks for saying hi. Glad to have you here. Is a way to get out and walk with an objective. Bonus points I can drink. I can have a drink on hand and not get in trouble. There you go. Auto deployment for GitHub to Dockhand for automated deployments is a good CI/CD stack. Yeah, and again, I don't do CI/CD stuff, so it doesn't really apply to me. So I wouldn't be a good person to make that content. In Texas Rascal, I agree. I don't care for Plex, but I also understand just because I like Jellyfin doesn't mean it's for everyone. To each their own. 100% agree with that. You don't let him drown. Luckily, he can stand up all the way through the pool. It's only like, I think, 4 feet deep or something, so it's not too bad. Jellyfin works for me, and that's awesome. Okay, to thrust away. Oh, back to lurking. Well, Glenn, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you chatting for a little bit. No skill. Dog chasing a ball. That's fair enough. I'm too old to care that much. Man, this is all over the place. Sorry, when I scroll, when I just like one click, sometimes it'll do like a 1-click scroll, and sometimes it'll do like a 30-click scroll. Best thing to get back in the saddle, though. I think they were talking about horses. Yeah, I need to get back on the bike. I haven't actually been back on it since I hurt myself. I actually had to replace one of my pedal arms. It got bent when it flipped over. It bent the pedal arm. I had to replace it. And I was on it just long enough to test to make sure that everything was working appropriately. JD says, I'm not trying to hit the ball far, just slowly. Time to look at the self-hosting newsletter to see if something sparks my interest. I hope you have better luck than I did, Ben, because I looked through it like 3 or 4 times, and I always appreciate Ethan's writing, but couldn't find anything in there that really sparked any interest at all. So that was disappointing. And again, it's not Ethan's fault. It's just the state of where we are in self-hosting right now, I think. I don't know. I hope I can come up with something that I can make content about that doesn't frustrate me. Because like as I've said plenty of times, I love making content. Like I genuinely do. Like I love finding something that's done differently. Like when I found Pangolin, I was blown away. I loved researching and getting familiar with Pangolin. There was another one that was also similar to that I can't. Papra was another one that I really enjoyed getting familiar. So JD says, get into mesh communications with LoRa. I was looking at Meshtastic a while back and thought that Meshtastic would be fun. But for some reason didn't do it. And I think, no, wrong screen. Oops. Meshtastic hardware. Because there's some really neat Meshtastic stuff that acts. I think a good way to describe Meshtastic is it's kind of like Zigbee or Z-Wave, where each item becomes a transceiver effectively, and can then, oh yeah, it's going to do that from time to time. Cake in a cup. The camera's kind of got a mind of its own sometimes. But these kind of become nodes that will automatically generate new networks and auto heal networks and that sort of thing. So you don't have to rely on like cell towers and that sort of thing. 1 second. Anyway, I'd actually considered doing some Meshtastic stuff. I think I would need more people to help me with it, though. But I think Meshtastic with Laura is an interesting idea. Looks like maybe I could reach out to Seed Studio. Maybe they'd be willing to help me with something like that. Because like this can just act as a repeater, even though it doesn't do anything. A friend set up LoRaNet between his home and work just by placing devices and PowerPoints exposed on his path to work. You could also do like solar battery packs or something like that to keep him going as well. But yeah, you just get repeaters and have them placed wherever. It's not a bad idea. So that might be fun. That might be a fun thing to re-explore. Like I said, like this one right here. This has got or this one. It's got probably a battery pack in there. It's got solar on it to keep things charging. Repeaters and trees, right? So this looks like a kind of a walkie-talkie. Integrated screen, virtual keyboard. Oh yeah, because you can also do texting and that sort of thing with it as well, making it especially suitable for hiking teams, overlanding, search and rescue testing, and long duration outdoor deployments. Built-in GPS antenna for stable connection, integrated screen for direct service or direct device interaction, portable handheld form factor. Got a solar node like we were talking about earlier, with hardware to mount it to different places. Yeah, like just like that. So got a Meshtastic development kit. Wow. So yeah, that might be a lot of fun to get into. If I had more friends or people that could help me with it in the area, it'd be a lot of fun to deploy something like that. Meshtastic starter kit. Let's see what this is. Oh wow. Okay, so what's the $182 for the full kit? That's my problem. I don't have anyone to talk to, and my wife wouldn't go for it. Like my wife would probably humor me for a minute, but she'd get bored real quick because it's definitely not her thing, and that's not a dig against her. All right, so we got a card tracker, a YO tracker, solar node. I feel like you could get a couple of these YO Tracker L1 Pros and a couple of the SenseCap card trackers and build out a decent amount. You probably build out a decent amount of stuff there. Sure, you could reach out to people near you that already have it. Colorado Mesh is great. And we have people near you. Colorado Mesh, huh? Colorado Mesh. Oh. Interesting. Colorado Springs. Welcome to the Colorado Springs group for Colorado Mesh. We have a channel on the community Discord, regional mods. There's nobody there. Interesting. Well, that could be fun. Oh, you're still building the site. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, maybe we should talk about that at some point, because that could be a lot of fun. Let's see. Let's look at Denver. Okay, so the site is still very much being built. Fort Collins Mesh. Huh. Networks, Meshtastic. Interesting. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. Might be something to get into a little bit. Oh, here we go. Mesh map. Let's scroll in. All right. So there are quite a few people here in town, it looks like, that have nodes. I'm just wondering if it's a thing in France. Well, let's find out if it's a thing in France. It looks like it probably is. Like, it looks like it's kind of a thing all over the place. So I would assume so. That's really cool. I like that there's a map. I really dig that. I expected there to be more in Idaho, if I'm completely honest. Like, I'm originally from Idaho, so I would expect there to have been more than like 6. That's crazy. Especially knowing the kind of people that are there. I'm sure I can reach you from here at 7 hops if I get high enough. So I guess my question is, what is the distance? Meshtastic, oops, distance. Meshtastic distance depends heavily on the line of sight and your local node network, ranging from half a mile in dense suburbs to over 200 miles from mountaintop to mountaintop. Wow. Because it's a mesh network, messages can hop between other users' nodes to achieve unlimited internet-free coverage across cities and regions. That's pretty neat. So in theory, then, I could get one of these, right, and get started. That would be my assumption anyway, right? Because if I'm able to connect to somebody else, then I can connect to however far that mesh network would go. You want 2. Okay, if it's just me, why would I want 2? And an honest question, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. Oh, so you can message yourself and test. Okay, that's fair enough. I guess that makes sense. And then what, you just kind of register this somehow and you get a handle of some variety, some sort of username or handle or whatever. And that becomes your identity. You make it yourself. Huh. You can name it whatever you want. Okay. Interesting. No need to register. Okay, that's good to know too. But then you would need to know what somebody else has named theirs so that you can communicate back and forth, right? Except that with ham radio, you get assigned a call sign. I dated a girl in high school who, it was because it was before cell phones were super popular. Her stepdad was super into ham radio and made her take the class to get her call sign, and then put a ham radio in her car so that he could contact her no matter what, whenever. It's based on the MAC address. Interesting. Yeah, maybe I would need to get two just to get it, just to do some testing and learn it a little bit. That's an interesting idea. I wonder. Yeah, a girl with a CB in her car, dude, and it was an old police cruiser, which made it even better. So there's $60 on Amazon for the same thing, but I could also have them tomorrow morning, which could be a lot of fun. Now, do these, I'll send you a 1 watt pi hat. I mean, if you really want to, is that for this? Is that what you're talking about? For the Meshtastic stuff? Oh, I mean, yeah, we can chat about that offline or over in Discord or something later if you want to. That could be a lot of fun. You got 5 for the price of 1? Holy crap. You said you got that from PCBWay? Huh. Interesting. Buy them for a Father's Day gift to self, right? It's not a terrible idea. That's so 120 for 1 or 120 for 5. That's bonkers. Huh. Oh, that's just how to build the project. I mean, yeah, we can chat about that. That's an interesting idea. $29 for delivery? What the hell? Interesting stuff. Man, we've gotten way off course from what we were talking about earlier, but I think maybe Meshtastic could be a lot of fun. Forsaken, no worries, man. We were talking about Checkmk. We got it to observe itself, and then we tangented into Meshtastic stuff. No, man, I'm always looking for new nerdy things, and it sounds like it could be a lot of fun because it's cheap, right? And cheap is good. And if I can find a cheap hobby and make content about it, that could also be a lot of fun. Does it do voice or is it just data? I don't remember. I think it's just data, if I remember correctly, like just texting. But I could be wrong about that. I genuinely, I looked it up a while back, a couple of months ago, and I don't remember. You can do voice? Holy crap. It's a new update. Okay. That's pretty neat. You just haven't tried it yet. Well, that's interesting. I may have to pick up a couple of these. I wonder if B&H Photo has them. I just because I'm curious. I always like to look here too, just out of curiosity. Mesh stick. Nope. Again, just a random thought I had. Because they've got really random stuff on there sometimes. Great technology for the zombie apocalypse. That was kind of my thinking too. I guess I'll have to dig through here a little bit and see which one. Because it looks like this one, it looks like this one has more than this one, and it's cheaper, and I'm confused about that. but I'm definitely interested in learning more about it. It's the same that the Army uses, to be honest, can run the attack server. Interesting. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look into that. I may have to buy myself a couple of them. What? Why is... That's dumb. Was this a fitness tracker? Yeah, it's a fitness tracker. I don't know why they've got that there. That's weird. I don't know, man. Definitely looks like an interesting technology that I should definitely check out, especially with so many people being in my area. And I say that it looks like there's 2, 4, 10, 12, 17. Looks like there's like 17 in my area. But then there's also these other nodes: Hillbilly Medic Base, Fidget Toy Base, LFR Base, Black Forest Lee, and Eagle's Nest. Interesting. Oh, those are just singles. I get it. Norwood, Meshtastic. Huh. That's pretty neat with the GPS in there that you can see where all of the different nodes are. So this is mesh, but essentially you're connecting to someone you don't know. So basically you're using other people's nodes or their devices as transmitters and receivers to get a hop to whoever it is you're trying to communicate with. I believe it's all encrypted. I would assume it's all encrypted. And I saw something about 7 hops as far as like the testing was concerned. But I don't remember where I saw that, if I'm completely honest. Oh, it was right here. For LoRa hop 3, if you can hear other nodes and your test messages are acknowledged, but you don't get a reply back after waiting, change this to 5 and retest. That doesn't work, increase to 6 and then 7. If 7 fails, you probably don't have a path. Reset this to 3 and ask for help in Mattermost. There's an open channel that you're using for testing. That's pretty neat. Yep, definitely going to have to give this a look. I may have to. So I'm not harassing DB in Colorado from 7 is the hop limit, so you don't flood the mesh. That makes sense. So there is an effective limit to how far you can go in theory. Just based on the number, like if you had a clear line of sight, you could hop 7 times for a decent amount of distance, but there is a theoretical limit to how far you could communicate with someone. That's pretty neat stuff. Oh, they minified the whole site. Huh. Sorry, I just often like to look just to see Plone. What's Plone? Oh, so that's what it's built on, is Plone. Never heard of Plone. Interesting. Built on Python and React for people that value community, trust, fun, security, and openness. That's pretty neat. A bunch in Virginia, huh? Oops. Like looking up through this region, I'm surprised there aren't a ton more. Just really surprised there's not a ton more in this region. I added one to my car that monitors the OBD2 sensor and sends me alerts. Interesting. What would be like, what kind of alerts are you looking for? Just out of curiosity with that. Oh, so so you can do public or private channels then. That's good to know. And again, this is all stuff that I have no idea about because I've never actually used it, but that's good to know too. Love being a wireless nerd. Palmer Park. Huh. That's pretty neat. Okay, that's fair. I actually had an OBD scanner in my car too, but it didn't do me any good when my transmission failed the other day. So, it is what it is. No check engine lights for that. Private channels for all those messages. That's good. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do it. I've looked at it in the past and thought it was pretty interesting. I may wait. I don't know. Once I know more about how my car situation is going to get handled, I'll have a better idea of when I'll be able to do this. Interesting. Email. Public on one and disable GPS, but share on private channels. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Interesting. Well, cool. That's going to give me definitely something to think about. Because I'm always looking for a new hobby that's fairly low budget because I'm very cheap about things. And if I can get into a hobby for $100 and learn some stuff in the process, then I call that a win. So, because I feel like I could just get like 2 of these. Yeah. I feel like I can get 2 of these and be pretty set to go. Right. Yeah, I feel like 2 of those, and I could communicate back and forth with them, learn a little bit about them. Can I zoom in on that at all? Not really. Interesting. ESP32s are a cheap hobby, and you can do all kinds of stuff with them. That's true. Excuse me. I've actually got some somewhere that I was going to do a project with, and then found a better way to do it, and then never did it. So I've got some ESP32s, I think, actually on my desk. But yeah, I may pick up a couple of these bio trackers and learn something new for a relatively low amount of money. So that might be a lot of fun. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I don't think we're going to get anywhere further on this checkmark thing. I'm just pretty frustrated with it in general. Forsaken, I did something similar to that with a presence sensor. But yeah, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today and dealing with my nonsense and me getting frustrated with the documentation on this service here. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for, again, hanging out. Super appreciate you guys. But yeah, I'm going to try to come up with some content for this week. Ben, have fun on your bike ride. Hope you enjoy that. You should get a GoPro mount for your bike. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, guys, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you again here real soon. Hopefully some new content coming this week as well. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.